safe place, leaving all judgment and criticism at the virtual door. We would like our chat to be on fire, so please be sure to engage with us. We are your people. All right, Brenda.
Awesome. Hey, Christy, thank you so much. I'm really grateful that you're here today. And I'm so excited that you ladies took some time for yourself, because I know me time is a luxury that many of us neglect sometimes, and we probably have a pattern of it. If you're here today, you might be a midlife mom or midlife woman who has kind of let go of themselves into their roles. The roles of wife, the roles of mother, the roles of even a professional. And we women, we kind of go all in with the things that we are involved in. And what we can't do everything. So what gets let go of are our own personal interests, our own personal activities, the things that light us up, our own friendships even. So I'm super excited for you to be here today. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm not sure how you guys are seeing me. I'm going to go ahead and put on speaker view. I'm on a mission to help women discover or rediscover and embody their passions and their purpose and their people through connection, and create a life that they can get super excited about again. Give me a thumbs up. You can still hear me? Okay, awesome. So in my book, Lady in the Tribe, it's based on my own experience of letting myself go in my roles and basically losing myself, and how I came back from that in a big way. So, and nowadays I am so excited to be kind of living the life of my dream, you know, being able to speak to women like you as a published author. And just this year, I was honored to represent my community as Mrs. Carbon Valley in the Mrs. Colorado America pageant. But, you know, it wasn't always that way. Just a few short years ago, you know, I just didn't have any light at the end of my tunnel. In fact, I woke up one morning and there was a definitive darkness at the end of my tunnel. You know, really nothing to look forward to. I just had this gnawing sense of dissatisfaction in my gut. And looking in from the outside, you would have thought, you know, I had the picture perfect life. I had a loving husband and 2 happy, healthy kids and a beautiful home, 2 snuggle pups. You know, everything was going great. What was wrong with me? You know, I just couldn't get past that feeling that something was missing. And, you know, mine could have been a meme of the woman who had completely let herself go with the weight gain, yoga pants every day, not even putting makeup on anymore, just not caring about myself, you know? And I just didn't feel connected to a purpose. And it looks like we have some people in the waiting room here.
Yep,
so
I'm letting them in right now.
Great. Okay, awesome. Don't want anyone to miss anything. So I didn't feel connected to a purpose. And I was just kind of going through the motions. You know, raise your hand if you've ever felt that way, or give me a yes in the chat if you've ever felt like you were just kind of there just to be of service to others, you know, not really, you know, pursuing your own passions and interests, really just being a facilitator for everybody else's passions and purpose. Anybody felt like that ever? Well, you know, again, I wasn't happy. I had really a great life. I just couldn't get past it. And you know, one day I was driving my kids home from school, and this was, you know, they were probably just about ready to start getting, you know, their permits and stuff. But so I was still in full-fledged mom, you know, carpool mode all the time. So I was bringing my kids home from school, and I was just thinking about all the things that I had on my list to do still today. You know, okay, I'm going to bring them home. I'm going to get them a snack. I got to, you know, help them with their homework, get them off to sports, go back and get them and bring them home from sports, and you know, then feed them dinner, get them to bed, blah, 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 just so I could do it all over again tomorrow, right? You've been there, I'm sure. As per usual, the kids in the back started bickering. And mom, and I was just like, I could just feel my emotions just getting out of control, and I just lost it on them. I slammed on my brakes, I pulled over, and I just started screaming at them, and I said, "You ruined my life. And I just started crying, and I just let all of my inner garbage all over the two people in my life that I love the most, the kids that I was really living my life for. Have you ever said something that you just didn't mean? Has it ever just popped out of you and you like, oh, give me that back, give me that back? I mean, I dropped an F-bomb and everything, and they had never even heard that come out of my mouth. And luckily they were in shock for a second, and then they started laughing at me. And then they told on me when we got home to my husband. But that's when I realized something had to change. I cannot, that was such a little thing. And I blew the roof off of the car, and it was awful. So again, I said some terrible things, and sadly, I continued in this funk for a few years. I was like, I just still was not figuring it out. And I even wrote a letter to the universe and asking, what is this? What's it all about? Why am I not feeling happy? What I need something to look forward to again. And if you can relate to that, give me a hand or a yes in the chat. I'd love to hear from you, because it's just good to know that I'm not alone in this. So I didn't realize it at the time, but over the last, couple decades or so, I was basically just I was letting myself go. I was not paying attention to my own passions, purpose, and people. I was not taking care of my own mind, body, and spirit, and it was time for me to kind of just turn the table and start mothering myself again. We women are nurturers, and we nurture ourselves to death sometimes because we're giving all the time. And it turns out for me, what was missing most in my life was, with relationships with my girlfriends, that all of my relationships had dove beyond the superficial. I mean, into the superficial, everything was over on FaceTime. Everything was, virtual, especially, I was actually coming out of it in 2020. I was already on my way out, but can you imagine? Everything, we have a virtual option for everything. And I had become so disconnected. And, what do you post on Facebook and all that? It's the positive stuff that's going on in your life. So all the positive stuff's going out there. And I just kind of felt like a imposter, because I was not living that. And, I've just come to realize that it's the lack of close, personal, deep friendships that we have with other women, women who get us in a deeper level, may be what is missing in our otherwise, picture perfect lives. And my mission is just to help women create that circle of support for themselves, and, being understood and being known, even the icky stuff that's going on in your life, even your fears. We need people to know us at that deeper level, so that we just know where we belong in this world, and we can feel strong from that position. And when we know where we belong and how we fit in, we're so powerful. We have so much more we can do from that position of strength. So, that's what we're here about today. It's not about just, coming together and making friends. It is about filling a void that you maybe don't even have a name for yet. What I figured out it was called for me was loneliness. Loneliness does not necessitate that you be socially isolated, because I was surrounded by people 24/7. Give me an amen in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Surrounded, but alone. I wasn't known. I wasn't letting other people in that deep and meaningful way. I was trying to be the perfect mom and the perfect wife. And I was only showing the perfection. So what we're going to do is I've got a couple exercises, and hopefully you do have the workbook because it's going to help you a lot here. Let me go ahead and go back to my screen. Oh, there's my tribe. All right, so we're going to work on a couple things today, and this is a huge, super powerful, awesome exercise, and it's about determining your why. Give me your hand raise if you've ever been asked, what's your why, or if you know what your why is. Raise your hand if you don't know what I'm talking about. I think we have both here. Yes. So there are so many things vying for our time and attention these days, right? So if you have you recently thought about what you are passionate about beyond your roles? Of course, we're passionate about our family. That's always going to be the case. But what is it deep in your soul that drives you, that gets you out of bed in the morning beyond service to your family? What is it? I mean, service could certainly be a part of it, but what is it beyond your family? If you can't see it, smell it, taste it, get excited at the feeling of it, your why, then we have some work to do. And that's what this exercise is all about. Because there's something outside of our roles that we play that drives us and represents who we really are. We need to identify what will move us deep in our soul and figure out how to get more of that thing in our life. All right. Most of us are programmed to do everything for others, right? But you need a bulletproof why that is about you and for you. It's what gets us through the tough times, ladies. And it's so important for us to do the work to figure this out. Maybe you really want to be a part of something new and exciting. Maybe you want to just stop missing out on things because of other people's priorities. Yeah, give me an amen in the chat to that. That was my life for decades. Other people's priorities. My stuff just fell off the calendar. Maybe you want to accomplish something big and unique and interesting. So in your worksheet, under key number 1, determining your why, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want to make a shift to feeling excited about your life again? How bad do you really want it? How important is it to you? This is what separates the talkers from the doers. The how bad do you want it circles back to your why, and it really needs to be big enough so that you're willing to give up a few things in your life. Some of the minutia that has taken over: too much time on Facebook, too much time binge watching Netflix. What are those things? Some of these things, so that we can start exploring the things that really light us up in a more meaningful and powerful way. So how bad do you really want it? Comes down to pain and pleasure, right? Pain and pleasure. We're always trying to avoid anything painful or uncomfortable. And we're always seeking that comfort zone and anything that gives us pleasure. So people only change due to inspiration or desperation. And that's in your workbook if you want to write that down. We only change. Change is hard, right? Change is just so much easier. Just do the same thing all the time and have your comfort. You know what to expect, right? Even if it's not completely 100% joyful. Take something inspiring, or if being completely desperate to get to that point of change. So as humans, we avoid anything, again, that feels like pain, and we instantly take action towards the things that we believe will make us feel good and that will give us pleasure. So what we're going to do in this exercise is we're going to try to rewire our brain, because we've got some pretty old stuff working in there that kind of drives us into our comfort zone more often than not. And what's going to happen is, the cool thing about our brains is we can change them. We can change those patterns. And they are constantly changing based on what we're thinking and what we're doing and the patterns of our life that we have. So right now I'm going to walk you through this exercise, and it is called looking inward to move forward. And the exercise is going to show you that the pain that you really want to avoid is not making the changes in your life. And that the joy and the excitement you're looking for is going to happen because of the change. And it's something to look forward to. So again, look inward to move forward. And that is in your workbook also to write down. So we're going to spend 10 minutes right now on a little exercise. And it's a little bit of journaling. And, I've done this in the past where I've said, okay, do this as homework, and everybody's like, yeah, I'll do it as homework. But what do? We get back into our little routine and we miss it. And it gets by and we go, oh, I got to do that. It just adds to our to-do list, right? How many people have a to-do list and this would just go on any homework, right? And you may or may not get to it, right? So we're going to spend some time on it today. And you're going to journal the answer to the question, what is your why? And beyond that, you may not even know the answer. You might have to think about it. Just think about what is it that just inspires you a little bit, and just write down the first thing that comes to your mind. And I want to share with you the answers to my questions. I did this exercise back in 2018. That's when I was just beginning to come out of my funk years that I was talking about. And so the answer to my question was, what is my why? I want to accomplish something big, unusual, and challenging. I want to set my family free so that we can all make a difference in our own way while enjoying all that life has to offer. And here's where this work becomes pretty powerful. It's not the first question, but it's the follow-up questions. So you answer the first question in 2 or 3 sentences maybe. And then you ask yourself a simple question. Why? Why do you say that? And then you write another couple sentences. Why did you say that? What about that is important to you? And then you do it again. Why? This repetitive questioning is just like kind of pulling back the layers of an onion to get down to the core that is your real why. And we're going to do this. We're going to keep asking ourselves this question as many times as you can in the time period that we're allowed here. But 6 and 7 layers deep is usually where you're going to discover what it is that really lights you up. And you're going to know it because you're going to get a little bit of goosebumps, a little bit of excitement in your belly. You're going to go, oh, that's it, and exhale. And you know what? This may or may not happen today during this exercise because we have limited time, and I'm going to get you started well on it. But some of you are going to go, oh, I'm a lot closer. I at least have a clue. And some of you may not quite get there, and that's okay because this is not an overnight process. Transformation takes time. So what I'd like to do, if anyone, does anyone have any questions before but I'm going to set a timer and ask you guys to go ahead and spend, I think it's about 5 minutes or so on this question. Do I have any questions, Christy? No? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer now and go ahead and just start journaling. Okay, so let me go ahead. Here are the questions that we asked, and basically it was just writing down your first instinct of what your why is, and then asking yourself over and over again, why do you say that? Why? What do you mean by that? Just clarifying and peeling back that onion. we're going to do a little breakout session right now where I'm going to pair you up. But I'd like to bring, I'm going to stop sharing and have Christy come up here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do in this. And this will not be, none of this is recording. Any of your sharing is not going to be recorded. We are in a safe space here, just us. Christy, would you come on up here, pin yourself, and I'll pin me too if I can. Are we both there? I think so. Okay. So in this little 5-minute breakout, we're going to give each, you're just going to be paired up with another participant. And I'm going to give you just 30 seconds to say hello, you know, say your name, where you're from. And we're just going to dive right into this. It's a simple question, but it's a simple exercise, but it's very powerful. The first person will just ask, Christy, what is your why? So go ahead, Christy, why don't you just ask me the questions?
Okay, Brenda, what is your why?
So I shared my why already. Basically, I want to accomplish something big, and I want to, you know, provide for my family in a meaningful way, so that really money is not a part of the equation. And I want us to be able to all just be creators and live the life of our dreams.
Why do you say that?
Well, I really enjoy being of service, you know, leading and guiding and mentoring others.
And why do you enjoy that?
I really enjoy opportunities to be in front of people and communicate messages of overcoming challenges, hope, peace, and joy.
And why is that?
Well, I love abundance, and I love freedom, and I love my family and friends, and I just want to be able to spend many days and hours and weeks and years with them.
You want one more why?
One more why. Yeah, I love being a magnet. And you know what it came down to? So that when you really, you know, do this layer work, you're going to come out with a why that may not even resemble the first why, because really some of the things I said in there didn't seem to relate at all, but those were the things that came out as I was going through the exercise. So I came down to what my real why is. And my real why is to follow my intuition with confidence, expanding in abundance, success, and love every day as I attract, support, and inspire others to do the same for themselves. So, and that gives me goosebumps when I read it, and I go, that's what I want to do. So right now, we're going to have you guys it's only 5 minutes. So real quick, hello, get to know you. And then 2 minutes each to go through the answers. And one person will just be asking what your why is. Why do you say that? Why? And then you will flip. And at about 2.5 minutes, we're going to broadcast a message into your room so that you know it's getting time to switch. All right. So Christy, would you send the ladies off, and we'll be back here again. This part's not going to be recorded. Your sessions are private.
Yeah, and you're going to be in rooms of 2. So in case there's any issues or something
on this recording. So the next part of this exercise is the most powerful. And it is kind of assuming that you've gotten a little bit further, you know, down the rabbit hole on, you know, what it drives you, what lights you up, and all that. But what you're going to do now, we're going to spend some more time on this in journaling. We're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to ask the question and journal the answer to the question. Why is this so important to you? You know, and then we're going to ask again another question. If you don't achieve your why, what is the pain that you're going to experience? I'm going to tell you what, that one is a doozy. And I will share with you, I'll come back to this slide so you have it as a reference, but I want to share with you my answers to the questions. And I mean, ladies, I was at a pretty depressed level when I was just starting to find resources and tools like this to come out of it. And so these are kind of raw. This was kind of raw for me, but my answer to the question Why is this so important to you? Time is going by so fast. As I continue to grow and meet each new goal, I will acquire more resources to set my family free. Parker, my husband, and I will be able to take the time off we choose to chase our family around the world. We will be able to treat others to incredible destinations and experiences. My kids can chase their dreams without worry. I want to be known as a top female in my industry, and I will take great pride in achieving this big goal. And I wrote down Eagle Mama at the time, and it was an inspiring thing to me. So I'm not sure why I wrote that back in 2018. But then the next question, this is the one that really got me in the gut. If you don't achieve your why, what is the pain you will experience? I will be so disappointed in myself. Just another dream, goal, unfulfilled. I will feel ordinary, not special. My family will continue the rat race treadmill of life. We may miss special time with our kids. We won't have the freedom to pick up and go whenever we want. I don't know when I'll be able to retire, or my husband, and we would need to budget our resources. Our kids will not have the experience of watching their mother meet a big goal and be a part of the celebration. They will always love me, but have less to be proud of. And no example of true greatness to aspire to. Sorry. Anyway, that's the work. And to get to that point of, what's the pain? This is the pain that I would experience if I did not take action. So we're going to take some time. If anyone have any questions, we're going to answer those next two questions. And I'm going to give you, again, oh gosh, I think I have 10 minutes set aside for this. I'm going to go ahead and give you the 10 minutes. Maybe you need to add a little bit more to the first part of the exercise, but let's go ahead and let me get that next timer going. Okay, we're back. Awesome. Sorry about that. So yeah, finding your lady tribe is the next key. And so basically has us surrounded with only people who love us dearly, but also frequently need something from us. Give me an amen in the chat if you can relate to, hey, I have a lot of people who love me. They always need something from me. We need people in our lives that, love us just because of who we are. So our girlfriends actually can be that. They do not love us for what we can do for them. They love us because of who we are. And, they understand our busy lives because they have them too. And, these friendships can be easily neglected because they really demand nothing from us. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease most of the time, right? And they're just not squeaking. So the only ties that bind a true friendship are those that we choose to tie. We're not bound by blood, by contract, by vow, just by our own commitment to making that decision each and every day, week, month, year, to keep that connection going and to give it some work sometimes, because any meaningful relationship requires that work. It's kind of easy just to let go of a friend sometimes. I mean, yes, in the chat, if you've ever had a situation where you're like, okay, it's just, they're gone. But if you had been married to them, you probably would have put in a little more work because, hey, you got to do that. So who's ready to give deep friendship a seat at the table? So I love this next part. What we're going to do is we're going to there's myths out there about friendship, and we're going to bust a big one today. And the one we're going to talk about is the myth that friendships should happen organically, right? No, there's nothing wrong with you if they're not happening organically. They don't just happen, all right? So write that down. Friendships they do not happen organically. I want to talk about the difference between a friend and a friendship. Friends, gosh, we have hundreds or thousands of friends, right? Your neighbors that you wave at, they're your friends. That people that you see at the grocery store and you recognize, oh, you give them a little wave, they're friends. Just people that you work with, maybe you consider friends. But a friendship is a verb, and it requires action. It requires a little more from us. And there are a couple ingredients, 3 ingredients, in fact, to friendship. And the first one is time. How have we been doing there? We are busy. Time. It requires time. It requires our attention. And that means actually when you do get to be together, that you are there, present, focused on each other, because the time is so limited. We put our devices away. We're not being distracted. We're not doing other things. We are having some concentrated friendship time. And the third thing is enthusiasm. You guys know when you come home from work or whatever, and the kids would run up, oh, mom, yay, she's home. Maybe they're not doing that anymore. It's like my house, but they used to do that when they were little. And maybe you have a dog that is always so happy to see you and they just make you feel better. Well, that's what our girlfriends do for us. And that's what we should do. We should make a concerted effort to show up like that. You are so important to me. And oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to be with you right now. That is huge. We need that. We need those kinds of encouragers and to know that we are important. And then there's the equation for tribe, so tribe is friendship, which is the first 3 ingredients, time, attention, enthusiasm. And then you have to add a few things. You have to add space, which is proximity, add something called vulnerability, that scary word, vulnerability, right? So as I did my research on the problem, which basically is loneliness, and the remedy, which is friendship, I discovered that there are situations that hold people back from really connecting beyond the superficial. And I created what I call the spectrum of authenticity. And I'm going to share with you the different levels on this spectrum as if they are a person. I'll describe her as a person, like this diffident, but it's not really a person. It is really a piece probably of your own. You might recognize her in you, depending on the situation you're in. And the first level is called the diffident. And the diffident is, she's kind of, feels a little awkward, socially shy, wants to connect, but really doesn't know how to, kind of just feels like outside of the group, especially if you go to a new place, you feel a little outside, or especially if that group already knows each other a lot and you're new, I feel like a diffident. Anyone else ever felt like a diffident in a situation? Go ahead and just raise your hand. Yeah. So the diffident is the first level of the spectrum of authenticity. The next level is called jaded. Have you ever shared something with a friend and you feel like she betrayed your trust and your confidence? And you got hurt, it hurt your feelings? It's happened to me more than once, and you kind of get that attitude. That's happened to me. I've been there. I'm not going back. I'm not sharing. I do not trust women. All right. Have you ever heard anyone say that? Have you ever said that? I don't trust women. I have guy friends because these girlfriends they can't be trusted. So, it's okay to have, it's life. These situations are going to happen, but you just can't live there. And I have tools to share that can protect us from this happening ever again. All right. So there are ways to be vulnerable and not fear. Okay. The next level is called the friendlies. And I made this word up. It's a surface level connection. It's usually because of you have a friendship because you are in the same place at the same time a lot. Maybe it's the middle school moms. That's the one that I kind of made this word up about. I kind of went in trying to make friends myself as a middle school mom in a new school, and just kind of went all in and tried to build friendships over years. And we had great times together. It was all fun. But when the kids moved on, so the friendships moved on, and I was like, that hurt my feelings. I thought we had something, but it wasn't. And it wasn't like Mean Girls or anything like that. It was just that it wasn't set up that way. Everybody was at a crazy point in their life, and they it was a convenience friendship. That's just what it was. When the convenience ended, so did the friendship. Those are the friendlies. Anyone else have a friendly out there that you can think of, come to mind? All right, the next one is the social. The social is, I think we all have social in us, out there posting all their positive stuff, their vacations, their gifts, their new car, great stuff that's going on. They're out there helping, and they want to be of service and help people, but they don't want to ask for help. They kind of feel, again, like that imposter, because they're putting out all this great stuff, but they never share the actual reality of their life and their existence, because that would make them feel bad. So they kind of feel like an imposter, and they just kind of, don't feel connected, because it's very superficial, these friendships. All right, any socials, I know you're out there. I'm just going to move on. The last level is called the confidant. And this is kind of like our goal for our tribe. Not everybody is going to hit, we're not going to speak to everyone as a confidant. But the confidant is just so secure in her connections and friendships that she's willing to share any and all flaws, brags, insecurities, fears, failures even. She can say, I love you, and mean it, and just communicate at that level of just being completely authentic and just so connected. And again, this is reserved for hopefully your family or a few members of your family, but the 2 to 6, there's no real firm number of women in your life that become your tribe. So that's my spectrum of authenticity. And I truly believe we all kind of exist in that at some point, depending on what situation we're in. All right. So there's my spectrum. Let me just come back to FaceTime here real quick. Stop share. Here we go. I'm back. So, I just want us all to take a stretch real quick, because we've gone into some deep stuff and all that. So give yourself a little bit of stretch, take a deep breath, and, building deep friendships. This feels good. It starts with intention, and it ends with taking action. And we must be intentional about connecting to others, because it's just not going to happen organically, right? Like we talked about. So how do you connect with women who could become your future tribe? Or how do I take the women that I already have in my life that I kind of like? And how do I build deeper with them? What are the steps? There are some specific habits that you can establish to deepen connections with and create that tribe with other women. So I have a lot to share on this topic. Before we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with 3 ways to get started on this journey, and one of my number 1 friendship tip. But maybe you're looking for more than just a little connection here, right here and now. And maybe you can relate to my story of just feeling a little bit lost and feeling disconnected from my own passions and purpose. And maybe you feel like you can understand what I mean when I said the funk years. I mean, it was years, this funk that I was living in. Just every sighing all throughout the day. What's going on? What's the meaning of life? Maybe your kids have grown into their next chapter or about to, and maybe you're grasping onto every moment. I called it my moments. I was creating moments all the time to keep the kids around. And, maybe you've been a key player in everyone else's life, but you neglected your own mind, body, and spirit. Your relationships with other women have been diminished to mostly Facebook posts and likes and comments. And socially, you long to be a part of a tribe of support, feeling accepted and loved. You don't have to figure it out all on your own, and you don't have to stretch your discontent to years and decades. I've spoke to women who are still there and they're just waiting for those grandkids to show up so they can be happy again. Let's not do that. All right. So can anyone share real quick what they've gotten out of this training so far? What's the core message so far that you've gotten out of this? Anyone?
I feel like, if I can jump forward, I feel like you can't do it alone. And we've given ourselves away to all these other people. But when you just said being the key player, it made me think about, you've got to be like the star of your own movie. And so we've been playing these side supporting roles. And I'm like, it's time, to be the star of your own movie.
I love it. You are your own leading lady. You absolutely writing out your movie. Oh, that's a great exercise. I love it. Thank you, Patty, for sharing that. That is kind of a big part of the core message that I want to share today. And so at this time, I want to just kind of put out an invitation to you with the research that I did for my book. And what I discovered is when women commit to getting support on this transition of life, and that's what it is. It's one of those tough transitions from their roles to find themselves again. A few things kind of start happening. First, they stop panicking about what they feel they're losing. Gosh, it's the last. I kept on focusing on the last. This is the last that. And they start looking forward with eagerness and excitement. The next thing, they start feeling more empowered to invest in their own interests, their own activities, and friendships, and self-care. And through this structured step-by-step process, they begin to feel whole again, and everyone in their life benefits. So when you get your sense of purpose all fired up again, first of all, it's going to give you a sense of security in knowing who you're here to be. And you have the opportunity to be an influencer and really make a difference for others. Let's face it, we women are givers, and to a fault sometimes. How great will it feel to truly have it all together for once and help others from that vantage point? It doesn't matter if it's your family or your friends or community. You're going to be helping from a position of strength. And once you're driven by that purpose, just imagine the impact you can make. So I love working with women who are ready to take the time and put some effort in taking some specific action steps, to have your first result, and then your 5th result, and then your 10th result. And this is where you start dreaming again about your future and your life, and create that life that you are excited to move forward in. Can you feel the reverence of what it means to be firing on all cylinders again? Driven by a purpose, making a difference in ways you have yet to even imagine. So for those of you who are curious, I would like to invite you to schedule a complimentary Me Again breakthrough session. And, in it, I can learn a little bit more about you and provide a personalized mini assessment and a little get started action plan, completely complimentary. And I want you all, each of you, to know and trust that you have so much to bring forward into this world still. We're not done, all right? This is worth committing to. It's recommitting to you. And say your yes to yourself and to your own potential. We don't want to get stuck in the place where our fear is greater than our belief in ourselves, So I'm here to tell you, you were born for this. You were not born just to exist. You were born to be visible and make a difference in a big way. So please, Christy, if you haven't done so already, put a link to my calendar. I would love to meet each of you one-on-one just for 30 minutes. Literally, I just want to learn where you're at in your life and maybe provide you with a few tools to just get you moving in the right direction. So thank you for giving me the minute to just share that with you. I'm going to wrap up real quick here because we are over. I was trying not to go over, but there's some breakthrough session stuff, flip through that. So in your notes, this is how we wrap up. I want you to write down who is already a member of your tribe. Who are you already communicating with at the confidant level? All right. And if you don't have anybody, that's okay. We got to start somewhere. We have ways to get that going pretty quick. Number 2, who do I already know that I may want to build deeper with? You know, this is a great place like friends of friends. Who's friends of friends that you've met maybe in passing and go with? I liked her energy. I would like to get to know her better. You know, get connected through that other friend. So have a coffee date. Maybe it's the woman you see at King Soopers all the time. You know, you see her all the time for some reason. And again, you'd like her, she looks nice. Well, the universe is having you pass by regularly for a reason. Make that invitation to connect for coffee or something. So maybe you're just writing down blonde woman at King Soopers. You may not even know their names. All right. And then where can I go to meet new people to build with? And when you do write these answers down, think about what interests do I have that I can explore? Is it, you know, art? Is it yoga? Is it hiking? Is it biking? Is it bird watching? What, maybe you can, you know, meet people in those arenas because you already have something in common to talk about. And, you know, what groups can I tap into? Is it church? Is it a meetup or whatnot? Where can I go on a regular basis to, you know, meet people? And then this is so important. Things that matter to you end up in your calendar, right? And your probably calendars filled with family and work things. Add placeholders in your calendar for tribe building, friendship making, you know, and start setting those dates and blocking time for them. Because if you don't put it in there, someone else will fill it up with their OPP, other people's problems, right? All right. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that friendship tip. So the friendship tip, my number one thing is if you're going into a new group and you want to, you're hoping to meet someone, go with the intention of being interested instead of being interesting, right? We're always, I want people to like me. So what am I going to talk about? And I got to tell them all the great things. No, go in, say hello, you know, hi, Judith, how are you? My name is Brenda. Tell me about you. Why are you here? What's going on? And let her share with you. People love it when people listen to them. There are very few good listeners in the world. It is a fast track to friendship. Super easy. You may ask a few follow-up questions, you know, to let them know you were listening to them. Fast track to friendship, ladies. And it's a lot easier than trying to be interesting. So with that, I'm sorry I kept you over. Again, I want to invite you to hook up with me on that Me Again breakthrough session. Click in and get in my calendar. Let's connect one-on-one. When 3 or more gather, we are a tribe. Love you, ladies.